Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today is Monday, tomorrow is Tuesday. That means that is the first day of the stock market. Today is President's Day, so it is closed. If you guys were waking up wondering why there's nothing moving, well, that is your reasoning. Now, here in this video, we are going to get into everything you need to know about AMC, economic data coming out. We'll talk earnings, but most importantly, I want to give you guys my prediction of where AMC stock is going to go in this week. And I think this week could be pretty important because next week is going to be AMC earnings on February 28th. So with that out of the way, let's get into this video. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. So AMC on Friday, pretty muted, drop 2 cents. It comes up as a 0.19% drop in regular trading and a 0.19% drop in after hours trading. But again, pretty muted overall. You were up more at one point in the day, and then you started to come down really the last hour and a half of trading. So you were actually looking very, very good above a key technical level, and then you kind of gave that back towards the end of the day, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But before we do that, let's get into some of the economic data and events that are going to be happening this week. There's not that many, but some of them are pretty important. So for Tuesday, that is going to be tomorrow, you have existing home sales month over month and year over year. And then you have a 3-month bond auction, a 6-month bond auction, and a 2-year bond auction. And these bond auctions can, move the markets sometimes pretty decently, but it doesn't tend to have a huge effect on the markets unless there was no demand for bonds, right? If there's no demand for bonds, or there's too many people bidding for these bonds, that's where you can get big moves. That's where you can see big moves in the interest rate, and that can, prop things up or break things down a little bit, just depending how you're trading for that time period. And that is going to be on Tuesday. Now on Wednesday, this is your first bit of bigger economic data and events, and you're going to get the FOMC minutes at 2 p.m. Now I'm sure you guys are familiar with what the minutes are by now, since we do talk about it after every Fed meeting. But essentially what it is the transcript of why the Fed made their decision at the last meeting is brought to us here. And it's usually about 2 weeks after the Fed does raise rates, right? Has their policy meeting, their FOMC statement comes out, right? That was about 2 weeks ago. Now you're getting the FOMC minutes, and that can provide the markets a little bit more clarity on who specifically was in favor for the rate hikes, if anyone dissented, or the markets like to look at it for clues potentially to future policy, even though we don't usually tend to get any information off the FOMC minutes. The markets always stand still around this time when the FOMC minutes come out. Everyone will be talking about it. If we get new information or not, that's the question. That will be the thing that can and will move the markets. If we don't get new information, well, it's probably not going to be a huge impact to the markets overall. Now, on Thursday, you're going to get initial jobless claims coming out at 8:30 in the morning. This is for February 18th. You are expecting 197,000. So pretty right on with the previous number of 194,000. 8:30 in the morning as well, you will get the GDP growth rate quarter over quarter for the second quarter. This is the estimate for Q4. You're expecting 2.8%. Previous reading was 3.2%. And GDP price index, you're expecting 3.5%. Last time that came out at 4.4%. So that can also be pretty important. And then you're going to get GDP sales quarter over quarter, right? You're expecting 1.4%. Last time was 4.5%. So you are expecting a little bit more softening in the consumer and how they're actually, spending money. PCE prices quarter over quarter, second estimate for Q4. You're expecting 3.2%. Last reading was 4.3%. So some of these estimates are coming down by quite a bit. And then on Thursday as well, you will get Fed Bostic at 10:50 a.m. I believe he is a voting member, so it will be a little bit more important what he has to say. And then you have a lot of oil data coming out, right? The actual sites that are still producing, right? The rig counts that will be coming out. Not going to be huge, I don't think. It's not going to be important. We get this kind of data all the time. But in the grand scope of where energy is and inflation is, it can move the markets a little bit more than, say, a couple months ago. You also will get 8-week bond auctions and 4-week bond auctions Thursday, 11:30 a.m. in the morning. And then on Friday, that's going to be the next big day, because you're going to get personal income month over month for January. You're expecting 0.7% of an increase. Last reading we got was 0.2%. It's not looking good. That would be people making more money, potentially a wage price spiral. Last thing the markets want to hear right now. Personal spending month over month, you're expecting that to come in at 1.1%. Last month's reading was negative 0.2%. So you're expecting a very big increase in personal spending. And core PCE price index month over month for January. This is what the Fed pays attention to. This is their preferred measure of inflation. You're expecting 0.3%. And the last month's rating was 0.3%. So essentially to stay flat. PC price index month over month, you're expecting 0.3%. Last month's reading was 0.1%. So that's much higher than last month's reading. And PC price index year over year for January, last month, the year over year number was 5%. You're expecting 4.8%. So you are expecting a tick down on the year over year, but again, expecting month over month to go higher. So those are going to be some of the big things. And if you were to just summarize all of this, you got bond auctions, FOMC minutes, personal spending, and PCE. That data is what will drive the markets, but some of this, like PCE and personal spending, is on Friday. So Wednesday is probably going to be the biggest day, you know, to start off the week, right, with the FOMC minutes. That's probably going to catch a lot of people's attention. So there is that. If we take a look at the earnings lineup for this week as well, you will see that you have some very important companies. Tuesday pre-market, you have Walmart and Home Depot. Obviously, if I have to elaborate on why that's important, you know, due to the state of the consumer, right, are they still spending money, so on and so forth, we got a problem. That should be able to be implied. Tuesday after hours, Coinbase, Palo Alto, Sandstorm, Transocean, Diamondback, right, Caesars, Chesapeake Energy, some energy companies as well as casinos, and then Coinbase. Wednesday pre-market, TJX and Overstock and Fiverr, a lot of secondary companies this week, but some big ones for their industry, like Wednesday for semiconductors, right? Nvidia, after hours, that's going to be big. Lucid, Unity, Etsy, Teladoc, Dutch Bros, Sunrun, pretty big companies for their industries. Thursday pre-market, Alibaba, Moderna, Domino's Pizza. Some pizza does not sound all too bad right about now. Nikola, I haven't seen that in a while. Nikola, oh my gosh, they're still around. Numa and Yeti. Thursday after hours, Block, better known as Square, Carvana, Mercado Libre, Booking Holdings, Warner Brothers Discovery, Wish, Southwestern Energy, Beyond Meat, Intuit, and Fairtech. And then a lot of just different off-brand kind of companies on Friday. Cinmark is the one that does catch my eye, especially in regards to AMC. Now, AMC will be reporting earnings on February 28th. That is going to be on next Tuesday. So if Cinmark does have good things to say, it might actually help out AMC as well. But unfortunately, Cinmark does not report earnings until Friday. Now let's get into some of the data behind AMC, and then we will talk the technicals. But those are the big things that can and will move the markets for this week. And I'm sure, as you guys do know, the live short interest of free float is 23.32% as of right now. 120 million shares that are currently sold short. Cost to borrow average is sitting at about 542%, cost to borrow max at 955%, and cost to borrow minimum at 7.60%. We have not gotten an update from Interactive Brokers in a long time, but last we knew it was around 170% cost to borrow rate. So I would imagine, since we have seen a big spike as per Ortex estimates, you've probably seen a pretty decent spike in interactive brokers as well. I would say those cost bar rates in between 300 and 500% would not surprise me, and that's kind of what I would expect. Now, if you take a look at the stock tracker data for this week, it's not going to be a huge week for option activity. About 15,000 calls in the money, 95,000 calls that are out of the money, and 10,000 puts that are in the money, and about 65,000 puts that are out of the money. So overall, not a big option expiration kind of week. But again, we see some of the biggest moves with AMC on weeks where there's not a lot of option activity. So you got to keep that in mind. Just because there's not a lot of option activity and it is a shorter week does not mean that AMC could not move, or that it is not worthy of making a trade on. Not financial advice, but personally right here and right now, based off of what I'm seeing, I want to be long in AMC. Speaking of that, you have a lot of FTDs that come due this week as well as next week. So for tomorrow, 2.5 million FTDs that come due. For Wednesday, 1.8 million FTDs that come due, 1.5 million FTDs that come due on Thursday, and 1.4 million FTDs that come due on Friday. It's going to be a very big week as far as failure to delivers. In the next week, you're going to see numbers ramp up even more, with 2 million FTDs on Monday, 2 million FTDs on Tuesday, 3.2 million FTDs on Wednesday, 3 million FTDs on Thursday, and almost another 3 million FTDs that come due on Friday. So even next week's going to be massive. This week's going to be massive. Keep in mind, next week, not this week, next week is when the one you're going to have like 3 million FTDs every single day that are coming due, like I just said. You also have AMC earnings, so I think that will also be very big, and I think it'll be a massive catalyst for AMC to send the stock higher. Now, if we go ahead and take a look at the technicals, give you guys a price prediction where you're at a very important level, guys. We were above this major squeeze level, and I just don't know what to call it, so I called it a major squeeze level, because this is the major squeeze level that you were at before the June rally. After you ran up in January of 2021, you ran up from $1.17 to about $20 per share. You came down to about $5.30. Baseline found support at this level. You held this support all the way for the next couple of months until you got the June rally, and you have never been back to this level until now, and you're seeing the stock really react very weirdly at this level as of recently, right? You held support at this level for a couple times in October and August of 2022. You finally broke under it during some of the bad times in the markets for risk on stocks earlier in 2023, like the beginning of 2023. And you broke under it, and now you're back above it, and now you're acting the same way with a lot of support, but it's fighting back and forth. So you were above this on Friday. Now you are no longer above this, but you are 6 cents off of this as of right now. So if we can break above this to the upside, that's going to be very positive. We actually just did get a bullish indicator as well right here, a FSTO indication signaling a potential reversal to the trend is coming here very shortly. Now, this downtrending level of resistance, you have never been above this line as well since the June rally, and actually held this level. So from my perspective right here, I think the only thing to do this week is to break out above that line, especially because heading into AMC earnings, I think it makes sense to hedge out some of their shorts that they have been putting on AMC stock. So I don't think shorts are going to cover, but I do think there will be, buying pressure and buying activity on AMC stock for this week heading into earnings for next week. And there's just not a lot that's actually going, to be big enough to bring AMC down, in my personal opinion, unless the markets do just absolutely tweak out. And obviously that could happen and the markets could fall a lot. But as of right now, I just don't see it. So if you break out above about 440, 450, that's where you could get some more upside. And I would put my level in between about $6.50 and $7 per share to close out this week. That is where I could easily see things going. If you do get some downside pressure, well, good thing is you're above the 5-day moving moving average, which is at $4.97 per share, this purple line right here. And that's probably going to serve as a decent level of support for any downside or fear move that we do get in the markets, guys. So that is going to be all for this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. Ling Ling, tell them goodbye. Tell them bye. Tell them bye. Say hit the like button. Say hit the like button. Okay, she's not having it today. Anyways, you guys enjoy the rest of your day and your weekends, and I'll see you in the next. Well, technically it's not your weekend, but it's still your weekend, baby. I will see you in the next one.